Please, Arnie, don't have a stress hork. Don't have a stress horkment. Don't hork out on the stress. Don't have a stress horkment. I mean, just because you're coming to the realization that you are some kind of a, I want to put this delicately, it's just because you are a sick fuck, don't have a stress hork. Don't hork out on the stress. Don't have a stress horkment. Don't have a stress horkment. Don't stress out on the, don't hork. Don't hork out on the stress. Just because you're finally having a realization of, what a deviant bastard you are. And that I don't mean that in a negative connotation. You are a depraved, sick bastard. But don't stress out on it. Don't have a stress hork. Don't have a stress horkment. Don't hork out on the stress. Don't have a horkment on the stress. Don't do it. Because just because you are, just because everyone around you is afraid of you, and you being 11 years old, it's, don't let that stress you out. Don't have a stress hork. Don't hork out on the stress because, don't have a stress horkman. It's not, it's you. It's not everyone else, it's you. But it's also just the way it is. The old expression, it is what it is. Well, you are what you are. And everybody else has to deal with it. Either that or we need to lock you away someplace in a rubber room. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that'll come to that. But my opinion is that if we just address each of these problems, we work on these problems, we're saving the medication, we're staving off the medication until the last gasp effort. Once we know that you are literally on the brink of maybe murdering people or being a serial killer, then we're going to engage. If there's any kind of sexual, predatory, this or that, which I don't get a vibe from you that this is going to happen. The serial killing, I get a vibe, but this is a small vibe right now, so we're not, but when it comes time, we will do the chemicals, we'll do we prescribe the medicines, the meds, you get on the meds and maybe, but, and we'll see. I will say this. In your future, I foresee a rubber room existence, but we're not there. We're not even doing the drugs. I want to get you on some drugs, but I want to wait till we clearly identify what's wrong with you, which we haven't done yet because it's so myriad and complex. There's so much wrong that we can't really delve into any one particular aspect. It's just like we're putting out a fire here, they go put out a fire there. It's a nonstop thing. But the one thing I want to discuss with you today, and again, don't stress out. Your mom texts me, and so I'm reading this text, and I can't even understand what she's talking about, okay? And I call her up, and she's sobbing, she's weeping, she's carrying on like a total nut, and I'm just like, well, whatever, it's the same old. I mean, is it the Raggedy Ann doll? Is it the dogs and the firecrackers? Is it the cigarettes, the chew, the gravity bongs, the excessive, really, I mean, even for an adolescent or a really supercharged hormonal young man, it's the masturbation is excessive. It's excessive. There is an excessive amount of masturbation. But so I'm like, okay. So then she hits me with this. She says that your neighbor called her up and said, as your grandma, and it's my understanding your grandma lives basically across the street, maybe catty corner, but your grandma lives across the street. You guys have a big, beautiful house, big Victorian, and across the street, maybe a little catty corner, there's big yards. It's hard to figure out which is which. People over there got so much money. The beautiful homes, beautiful Victorians. But anyways, as the ambulance is pulling away from the house and then rounding the corner to get out to the river road, the main road, so they can go to the hospital, you are beaning, in a really savage way, you're drilling the ambulance with snowballs. You're throwing snowballs and crashing off the windshield. You're crashing off the side. The ambulance at one point, it had its lights on, its tearing ass down the road. It stops in the middle of the road. Like these drivers are getting out of the vehicle. They're trying to find out, and they're going to try to kick somebody's ass, So you're pounding, you're drilling, you're beaning, you're just unrelentlessly, powering snowballs into the ambulance that is carting away your grandma. And obviously we didn't know at the time, but now we know she's having a ruptured aneurysm. And it doesn't even look good for this woman. But yet, we're wondering who and what is possessing you. Let the woman go in peace. Let them do their job. Let them take this woman to the hospital. And here you are, you're drilling. It's like rapid fire, snowballs, slush balls. The report I saw after your mother called me, she made me call the sheriff's department, and I actually had a copy of the report that they are claiming it was ice balls, that there was shards of ice embedded in the snowballs. There was chunks of ice, but more than that, there was snowballs that were surrounding shards and cubes and heavy little tiny, little blocks of ice, and that's heavy, and that's almost like shrapnel. It's like a hand grenade snowball. Who even heard, and you're drilling, and it's like, did you have a bunch of snowballs made up ahead of time? And did you begin, the snowball, hurling the snowballs as they left your driveway? But then they said as they drove up the block and rounded the corner, a second barrage instigated. And then a third barrage when they went up the next block and took the right on the River Road to go, on down to get over to the, to go to the hospital, that they felt like there was like 10 people throwing snowballs. But come to find out, it was only you by yourself. And what I'm wondering is, did you have staging areas? Were you anticipating that your grandma was going to have, how did you know? And what are you, just staging snowball attack zones? And it just came in handy when the ambulance came? And no one can figure out what's going on here. With the quantity of snowballs, it's like, I'm looking at the report, it's like 65, 75 snowballs, and maybe more. And it's like 3 zones. So an attack zone at the driveway, an attack zone at the first right, an attack zone at the next right. In a single block, 3 attacks. And these people, they're telling me that these ambulance drivers have the PTSD over the situation. And obviously, if they're stopping the ambulance and they're getting out, challenging, they didn't see you, but they're challenging, they're yelling up to the tops of the trees, obviously your grandma's not getting the attention she needs. She's not going on to the hospital. She's, stuck in the middle of the road. And what I'm told is as soon as the driver turned around, you beamed him in the back of the head, almost knocked him unconscious. And the other guy who's not even qualified to drive, he doesn't even have the CDL or whatever it is, he gets in the driver's seat, and he had to drive them both, your grandma and the driver. The actual EMT guy, the guy who's trying to take care of your grandma, there's 2 of them laid back there, your grandma and the driver, and the EMT, he's up front driving them both because you knocked unconscious the driver as soon as he turned his back to get back in the ambulance. So, if you are drilling the ambulance that's trying to take your grandma to the hospital after a ruptured aneurysm, I understand why finally something's sinking in with you, and you're starting to show a little bit of empathy. I don't even know if this is really empathy or if this is I don't know if it's remorse or empathy, or if it's just the fact that you got caught and you're trying to either trick us all, or you're just pissed because you got caught. You're gonna get punished. But obviously I see you are stressed, and I see you eyeing your corner. You want to get to them coloring books, don't you? You're hot on the coloring books. By the way, I really like what you're doing with G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, the coloring, the camouflage work on the pants, and the detail on the machine gun and the muzzle flare. It's really something. The muzzle flash. I love it. I love what you're doing over there. It's really beautiful. I'm thinking about entering some of your artwork into a contest, but that's neither here nor there. But Arnie, let me just say this. I know you've had a rough couple days. I know people have been down on you. Obviously, this is a new territory. It's new ground we got to cover, and it's disturbing. But given everything, I don't know if it's any more or less disturbing than everything else we're trying to deal with. So, you and I seem to take short, intensive therapy sessions, and then it's followed by roughly 30 minutes of you coloring and me researching. And again, I'm going to library books. I'm going to incorporate the internet, because the snowball thing, I never even thought of it, and it's got militaristic, connotations. It's got improvised explosive device implications. So we're gonna work. I will work. I will do my job while you over there coloring. And hey, if you look about three coloring books down, I got a Spider-Man coloring book there for you. So enjoy. You enjoy. And I've got to order in for some milkshakes. So, I think before you get out of here, I'm going to have a delicious vanilla milkshake for you. But go ahead, hit the coloring books, and I'm going to hit the research materials. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. But, hey, don't stress it. And remember, we may have the parachute. We may hit the silk. We may start prescribing the meds. We may start delving into the meds. But we're going to try to hold off on that, as long as we can, so that we have some kind of hope on the horizon, some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, something we can fall back on But anyways, okay. All right, Arnie. Okay, buddy.